But tell us about the forms that collaboration takes across South America.
Yeah, that's right. We have a long story of cooperation at the level of Mercosur. Mercosur is the association between Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. In fact, the collaboration between Argentina and Brazil is probably one of the strongest in terms of bilateral cooperation anywhere in the world. And that was based in history because several of the most brilliant Argentinian scientists left the country during the military dictatorship, and they went to Brazil, Venezuela, so it established the schools of chemistry, physics, and they maintained the ties with the colleagues in Argentina. But in the last decades, we foster cooperation through different institutions. We have an Argentinian Brazilian Center for Biotechnology that's going to celebrate the 25th anniversary, that produces not only several papers, but also several patents that can be applied for the production of food for agriculture or new crops. In addition, we have a center for nanotechnology, also involving Brazil and Argentina. And the good thing is that the type of science that you need to do in Latin America is different from the one that you do here in Europe.
Tell us a bit more about that, because that's fascinating.
I mean, in Latin America, science has to have like two phases, like the Roman god Janus. One looking abroad, trying to pursue excellence and to compete globally, and the other phase facing inwards, because we have still communities that have not received any input from science, that are living in conditions that are worse than the ones they used to enjoy before the arrival of the Spaniards. We need to take into account the opportunities divide that we have in many of our societies. And that's why we think that in addition to productive innovation, we have to promote inclusive innovation. We have to try to put science and technology to the service of the improvement of quality of life of our communities. And that's something that you cannot learn in developed countries, where the orientation, the focus is in excellence, in new technologies. Some of the old technologies have not been applied yet in many of our countries. So it's just the type of science that we need to do in Latin America, and I have we have to test new instruments to promote inclusion, because you don't only need the newest technologies, you need to make them available to people who have no previous history of accepting any technology. So you don't only need engineers and mathematicians or chemists, you need sociologists, anthropologists that will act as an interface with those local communities. So we have to produce more food in Latin America. That is a big challenge ahead. I mean, in 2 or 3 decades, there will be 2 more billion people in the earth. That's two times the present population of India. And in fact, we have to produce from now to the year 2050 as much food as we produce in our whole history. And that will require 70% increase in the present efficiency.
I mean, you make a really important point, because collaboration isn't just about it being done up here and then kind of walking away. It needs to be instituted, and we've all got grannies who won't deal with technology at all, or who have hearing aids and put them in the drawer, the bedside drawer, and they won't use the technologies. So we need to understand in order to implement, and that requires enormous collaboration.
Yeah, I think in addition to science, we need to use wisdom, which is a different thing. It's knowledge adapted to the particular needs, and we need to learn how to implement a proper policy in order to make the benefits of science available to neglected populations.
Jennie, can I come to you now, because we began to touch a bit there on culture and